Good afternoon on this Friday, August 18th. My name is Chad, and welcome to Equip, Empower, and Encourage with Chad on. Today, we are going to be discussing about those who are not paying you back and how to deal with it, because it's a very important thing. Because I'm sure you have loaned money, you have sold product on the promise that it would be paid back the next day or the next day or the following week. And when confronted with it, they didn't pay. They made claims they didn't have the money. They made claims that for whatever reason they were not going to pay. And so how you deal with that? How you deal with such people who do those things to you. And maybe the most common is a relative. Like maybe you had a relative who borrowed money from you or bought a product, and they just absolutely refuse to pay. And they know they need to pay it, but they don't. So let's discuss that a little bit, okay? So you can definitely visit my page. You can support me there by going to prosperwithchad.com. That's PROSPERWITHCHAD.com. You can also like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can also get me on podcasts, anywhere you listen to a podcast as well. Like and share with your friends and family. We deeply, deeply appreciate it. And so let's discuss this, because I think it's an important topic, and I've really been thinking about this for a little bit, and the emotions that are involved with it. Like when someone doesn't pay you, you tend to have an emotion that is kind of angry toward that person. You tend to be um, agitated every time that thought comes to mind. It just makes you want to go over to them and just beat them up, kind of attitude. And I don't know if that's is because of the spirit of mammon that's doing that, because we're putting the idea of money first, or it is because of the attachment that we have uh, to that money or product or whatever it is. And so what happens? We tend to react in such a way that is either justified or not justified, right? If you hold on for a minute, I'm gonna cut this because it's kind of hot. All right, hold on. Okay, back. All right. So you have to ask yourself, is it really worth getting upset over? And and I know some people, when you're loaning money, what I've come to the realization is that if I'm to loan somebody money, I'm not gonna. I decided for myself that I would never expect it back. And if they pay back like they say they were, I would approach them like from time to time. But if they paid it back, then great. But if not, I'm not emotionally attached to that particular money. And I think that comes from the spirit of mammon, because we get so attached to that money. We get so attached to the idea that if we sell a product to somebody, that they're going to pay us back. When the reality is that doesn't really happen at all. Most people are not going to pay back. They're not. They're not going to pay back. Some mean to pay back, but but circumstances happen and they just haven't been able to pay back. Others outright refuse to pay you, and they have the money to do so, to pay you back, but they don't want to pay you back for whatever reason. Maybe they're out to steal your money. Maybe they're out to um, just being a really not so nice person. And so we have to come to the realization that while it is wrong that they do not pay you back, we also need to have an expectation that they are not going to pay back, because it will help remove that emotion that is attached to it. And we just need to rely on God, allow God to do the work for us, allow Him to do the conviction. Uh, with my family, there is, gosh, I don't know how much money. We have friends and family that owe us money. It's like it's got to be in the range of $4 or $5,000. It's that much money, and we know that they can pay it back, but they don't for whatever reason. And so we've learned to let go of that and not allow it to be attached to us. Because if we allow it to attach to us, it becomes a heart issue. And every time that we think of a person, or every time we think of an idea, we automatically have a negative thought mindset toward that person. And we have to be able to separate that the physical things from the spiritual and from the things that are of the heart. And we have to understand that we are definitely not perfect human beings. And yes, what they did is wrong and it's continuing to be wrong. It's completely wrong. But I choose to give it to Christ so that Christ can actually move them to do the right thing. And if they don't do the right thing, then God deals with that, right? How many times have you not paid somebody back and it kept eating at your heart? It kept, trying to move you into the direction that you really need to go. It's in the back of your mind. Every time you have paycheck, every time you have something there, you're trying to make bills. The back of that mind, your subconscious mind, is that bill that you owe to that person. But when it comes time, what do? I would just put that off. I'm gonna pay this instead. When in reality, it's like God telling us to do what? To pay our bills, right? If we make an effort, if we make efforts to make payments and pay our bills, God will always do the supernatural to try to get rid of that payment for us more faster. Who knows? Maybe that person will forgive the rest of that debt if you're willing to, if you're trying to make payments. Maybe he will exercise the power of Jubilee. Even though Jubilee is 50 years, or was it 7 years, or whatever it is. So maybe there's that. But you gotta be what. But you have to have the right heart mindset. You see, those who are not paying back money, some of them may have the right intention because they really don't have the cash flow, and they just can't. They just can't. They're trying to, but they can't. Right? Or they can, but for whatever reason they don't. Others have the resources and they just don't want to pay you back. So these things we have to understand is actually a heart issue deep within them, a brokenness that is within them that is keeping them from growing beyond the resources that they actually have and are able to obtain. And then, so when we see that, we know that there's an emotional attachment that they have to uh, the physical things, to money. And so we have to, put them in prayer and pray for them so that they can do the right thing. Now, my wife has done this many times with her friends, and a year or two later, she would have out of nowhere, she would have someone who would say, "Hey, I owed you this much money. I wanted to give this back to you," and they did, right? So the possibility is definitely there if you're willing to be patient, pray about it, pray for them that they'll have the right heart mindset because that's important. We talked about the heart being where the treasures of the heart, right? Out of the mouth spews the what? The words, right? That comes from where? The heart. See, the heart can deceive you because of the words that are coming out. And so we need to understand that they have a heart issue, we have a heart issue. We need to pray for them, and hopefully down the road they will actually make their payments. So I would encourage you to really sit down and uh, just learn how to let go of the debt that is being owed to you on a spiritual level, because if you do that you'll feel more free. And if you're always thinking of that person, this person owes me this money, that person owes me this money, and it's becoming really stressful, then sit down and learn to detach from it. And how you detach from that is, seeking Christ, right? And allowing Christ to take that weight off your shoulder and allow Him to work with them. So I hope this helps you, quite a bit. I hope you have a little bit more understanding of how I deal with people who owe me money, because there's a lot of people that owe me money as well. And there is from time to time where I'm like, this person owes this money and still hasn't done it. It's just crazy. I don't know why they don't do this. But I've learned to detach from it because I don't want it to ruin my relationship with family. I don't want it to ruin my relationship with some friends that I have, even though they owe me money. But I just want it to be. But this is how I deal with things, and how I think maybe this will help you as well. And where I believe that God is really telling us, learning how to forgive and to move on and to allow God to do the work for us. So I hope this really helps, and hope you have an awesome, great day. You can, like I said before, you can visit me at prosperwithchad.com, prosperwithchad.com, and you can also like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Facebook, and or any podcast where you're listening to. I'm also there, LinkedIn as well. And I hope you have an awesome and amazing rest of your day and weekend, and would say be blessed and take care. Bye bye. See you.